Hello everyone, thanks for joining us for another edition of Texas Insider TV, brought to you by Speedstream. I'm Jim Cardle. With the legislative session in full swing, Collin County and its Collin County representatives are in Austin for a typical Collin County day at the state capitol. Collin County Judge Keith Self has been serving since January of 2007. He's a West Point graduate, and as one of the state's leading county judges, we're pleased today to be able to visit with Collin County Judge Keith Self. Keith, thanks for joining us.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you.
You and I have known each other for a couple of years plus going on here, and as I mentioned in the introduction, Collin County is a unique but great story for the state of Texas that we'll get into in a minute here. But first, tell our readers and listeners, if you would. It's typical for counties, cities, various entities to come down. They set up a picnic tent on the Capitol grounds, have a little barbecue. Collin County's down today. How's it going? Tell us a little bit about what you've got going.
Well, we bring a large group of people. This year we've probably got 240 Collin County business and elected officials down here. We are over in the Omni Hotel. We're going to be here for about a day and a half. Today we're getting briefings from state leaders on things such as medical care, water, and transportation. And so our business leaders and our elected officials will hear firsthand what the state has planned in those vitally important areas. Tomorrow morning we're going to be over in the House and the Senate. We'll be recognized from the floor of both the House and the Senate. And then our attendees will scatter across the Capitol to make face-to-face meetings with our legislators, because we think this is vitally important for us to talk directly face-to-face with our legislators about what is important to Collin County.
And in that regard, let me just segue. You were elected in 2006, November, started serving in 2007. At that point, there was growth. It's exploded since then, but you were running against a previous thought to be conservative county judge. There's been a new wave of peers of yours now at the county judge level, 254 counties in Texas. What are some of the demographic changes you're seeing? I believe it was a couple months ago that the Census Department came out. Frisco, Allen, all these smaller towns in Collin County are in the fastest growing cities in the nation. What are the demographics that you're seeing and the management will get to?
Collin County continues to be one of the fastest growing counties in the entire nation, much less the state.
Okay.
Between the two census from 2000 to 2010, Collin County grew 60%. Between 2000 and 2012, it's up to 63%. So that shows you the amount of growth that we have, and they continue to pour in to Collin County. So those cities that you're talking about are just growing in leaps and bounds. And as you said, it does present some challenges to prepare for that onslaught of new citizens.
So you've got transportation concerns, you've got county health care concerns. Your budget annually, I understand, is about $260 million. Mm-hmm. What have you seen in your management priorities, so to speak, to help manage that growth the last 5 years?
Well, the first priority of a county is the law enforcement and judicial system. Okay. Thankfully, we're not seeing a great growth in our cases filed. Plus, we have a new generation of young, energetic judges that are keeping our cases down. Plus, we have been designating some drug courts. A veterans court just recently came online, or will come online shortly. That will be a tremendous help with our veterans. And we also now have a mental health court. So I think we're managing the law enforcement and judicial system very well. Transportation, on the other hand, obviously grows exponentially with our burgeoning population. So transportation tends to soak up a lot of our attention.
Let me ask you if I can real quick, because we've had a former state representative, Jerry Madden, from your area, was chairman of the Corrections Committee before and really pioneered some national leading addiction or drug or the social issues type courts. How is that being received and working up there now that you've mentioned that you're doing some of that?
Very well. We have a number of drug courts, as I say, both at the felony and the misdemeanor level. The numbers are still small,
Okay.
but we are going to take this year to look at the metrics of success, because recidivism is what we're about. The mental health court, of course, has a slightly different issue. We want to make sure that those people who are competent to stand trial as soon as they can, so that we can handle their case, adjudicate it one way or the other, and get them back to being a productive citizen rather than sitting in jail.
And they've got a right to a fair and speedy trial. Sounds
Absolutely.
like you're able to facilitate that. Again, folks, thanks for joining us. We're visiting with Collin County Judge Keith Self, one of the fastest growing counties in the nation, and you've been judge there, Keith, since 2007. One final issue, if I may, and wrap up maybe more talking about some of your specific legislative issues. The budget for our state is a little more manageable this time. We're certainly not facing a deficit as happened the last two sessions, but transportation, you say, has got to be number one. What are some of the specific concerns up north of Dallas in the Collin County area?
Well, we've got to get a handle on the transportation debt. We've got to reprioritize state spending so that we can then continue to build transportation for our population, because not only Collin County is growing, the whole state's growing and will grow rapidly. Senator Nichols has a great proposal on the books to reprioritize state spending in a gradual way that will eventually, over the next 5, 6, up to 10 years, provide the dollars by reprioritizing the state budget to transportation.
And Senator Nichols is chairman of the Senate Transportation Committee.
He is.
Yes.
And our own Senator Paxton Ken Paxton from Collin County has a companion bill that would take the sales tax from car parts and redirect it to transportation spending. So there are at least two initiatives that I think are wonderful in their direction to take spending and reprioritize it to what is across the state a tremendously important issue, transportation.
How about one final question on something that is always a bit of a tar baby, but you all have been leaders in the North Texas tollway effort. How are some of the tollways performing and being accepted or not there with the constituents you have?
Well, I will tell you, I think there's tollway fatigue in North Texas.
Okay.
Because we've got a lot of tollways. The North Texas Tollway Authority, NTTA, has been very aggressive in building tollways, and it has provided roads where TxDOT frankly could not have. But at the same time, they come with a tremendous cost. Mm-hmm. And our citizens will be paying those tolls for the next 50 years in order to pay off the debt that comes with those roads. So on one hand, we have very capable roads. On the other hand, I believe there's toll road fatigue for the time being because of the cost.
It's going to be a challenge, I read between the lines, for future sessions, for future commissioners' courts up there. It's not something that can easily be handled or comes to a close once the road's been completed.
Unless the state reprioritizes state spending to build more free highways, this issue will continue to be there.
Well, we appreciate you coming in. We appreciate your work on those toll roads. As discussed, it's a tough one, and we need good state leadership. Keith Self, Collin County Judge, thanks for coming by.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate
Thanks for having
your
me.
work for Collin County. Folks, appreciate you tuning in for another edition of Texas Insider TV. Remember, you're either an insider or you're not. With Judge Keith Self, I'm Jim Cardle for Texas Insider. Thanks for joining us.